yarn shop in Montgomery, Texas, and I am hosting this knitting podcast for knitters, crocheters, and just overall yarn enthusiasts. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for subscribing. If you don't subscribe, please do so and push the button right below you and do subscribe. Also, I would love it if you would give this a thumbs up. Love your support, and thank you guys for taking the time to watch my podcast. This is episode number 3, although this seems like it's attempt 590 some odd of episode 3. I came into the shop, been out of town for a week. I meant to film on Monday. Monday was just too crazy busy. I couldn't get any filming done. So I brought everything up yesterday, which were closed on Tuesdays. So brought it all up, filmed a really great episode. Except we did have like a UPS guy try to come in and a couple of random little bloopers. But other than that, it was a really great episode. I was in a hurry. I had a bunch of other stuff. Finally, late last night, I go to edit and upload it. And there's like no sound. The microphone that I had used, which my husband, who's so sweet, he went and got this really nice microphone because we've had some sound issues and it was supposed to be this great microphone. It was an absolute dud of a microphone. So he's returning it today. And I have a different microphone that we have tested at length. This should be much, much better sounding for you guys. You should be able to hear me loud and clear. So thank you for your patience, and hopefully this records without incident and you get a lot of great content. I came in early this morning to film before we opened because I just wanted to get this podcast out to you guys. I know if you're like me, if you find a podcast that you really like, you're always just itching for the next episode. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, I want to share with you, I have 2 finished objects this week. Yay! So, as you might know, I went to Utah last week. My husband had business, and I was able to tag along to beautiful Salt Lake City and visit a yarn shop that I've been wanting to visit for a while, called The Blazing Needle. I will, if you're in the area ever in Salt Lake and have the opportunity to visit The Blazing Needle, I highly recommend you do so. It is a fantastic yarn shop, very knowledgeable staff, great selection of really cool yarn. They even have local Utah yarn. They have some hard to find brands. Like they're one of 4 stores in the U.S. that carry Wool-Miza. They carry completely different things that I carry. I literally think the only thing we have the same is Malabrigo. That was like it. Everything else they do is a lot of the rustic wool. So you had that new Peary from Brooklyn Tweed. They even had Ranch from Brooklyn Tweed. If you're a Brooklyn Tweed fan, you know how hard it was to get Ranch. I got a sweater's quantity of Ranch. Just saying. But they had some really cool things. It was great talking with them. I was able to grab some needles that I had forgotten at home, and so I was able to work on some projects, and it was just great. And I ended up, getting a whole basket full of things from them. You can go to my Instagram, which if you want to follow us on Instagram, the shop is The Modern Skein, basically across all social media. So it's at The Modern Skein on Instagram, The Modern Skein on Facebook, The Modern Skein on Ravelry. I am on Instagram, Mrs_Sharon_Graff, Graff, and on Ravelry I am OrchidGirl07. I'm technically on Facebook, but I don't do Facebook, so don't friend me on Facebook. I really don't like Facebook. Okay, so finished objects. That was a very long rabbit trail. I completed this beautiful boneyard shawl. Try and get it all in the picture here. This is a beautiful yarn that we have now in the shop. Just look at that. It's so pretty. This is from Tola Matan. Let me show you the label. Get to focus here. So Tola Matan is our latest supplier from France, and we have DK. This shawl is done in DK. And we have fingering, and we have lace weight, a BFL lace, which is beautiful. But I just lost her name. Lorraine, I believe is how you pronounce it. Lorraine. It looks kind of like Laura, but I believe it's Lorraine. I ordered this wonderful yarn. We went back and forth because I have been to France twice and to different parts. And so, hey, where are you from? Yada, yada, yada. We went back and forth. And in the package of all the yarn for the shop, she gifted me this beautiful skein of DK weight. That's just perfect colors. It's gray with these little bits of like navy and orange speckles. It's just beautiful, right up my color alley. And a box of the most yummy little chocolate crepes, like little biscuit cookie things. They're so good. They're so yummy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you ever watch this, Lorraine, thank you. I am actually shipping out today a bundle of some Texas goodies to you. No chocolate crepes because we don't have those here, but some things I hope you like. Anyway, so we have in a wide variety of Tôle Matin. Like I said, we had fingering. We have a single DK, which is beautiful. So it's a single ply DK, 100% merino. The fingering is 100% merino, right there. And then the lace weight is a 100% BFL. So the lace weight is beautiful. You're going to get great stitch definition, and it has a 875 yards per skein. So it's quite generous lace weight quantities. I mean, you can make some beautiful things. Most of the colors are solids or tonals from her, which I love. We have 8 different colors. Yes, 8 different colors, and on all the bases. So the same 8 in lace, the same 8 in fingering, the same 8 in DK. I have already sold, I think, almost completely out of the green on fingering, though. So come in and take a look. This is the Burr colorway. That's how you pronounce it. It looks B-E-U-R-R-E. It actually is butter in French, which is a lovely buttery yellow tone. It's getting a little blown out on the camera, but it's a really beautiful color. So that's one. This is the Ancien, which is a lovely lavender mauve tone. This is Cafe, just the richest chocolate espresso bean color. We have Framboise, which means raspberry. So you have these yummy raspberry and kind of orange sherbet tones. This is Platinum. Kind of, if you're familiar with hedgehog fibers and you know the typewriter color, it kind of reminds me of a softer, more subtle version of typewriter. So it's a soft gray with the softest kind of mid-tone borderline black speckles. Then this one is Rocher, which is a gray base with lots of kind of a flaming pink, kind of like my nails, kind of a magenta with a little bit of yellow. Yellow, yeah, a little bit. Then this one, it might show up kind of the same, but it's not. This is called Mars, and so while it still has magenta, there's also purples, and there's also greens, kind of a lime green and a dark foresty green, but still on the same base. So this one's definitely the most speckled of any of her colors we have. And then this one is called Sage, S-A-U-G-E, and this is a lovely minty green, but it's not a blue mint green, it's definitely green with some emerald green, foresty green, and a little bit of blue specks. So it's very beautiful. And her speckles are extremely subtle. So if you're not a huge fan of speckled yarns, I would think you're going to love these because they're very soft and muted. They pair great with solids. They pair great with tonals. You can pair them with crazy speckles too if you want to bring down your speckled yarns. So that's finished object combined with something new in the shop. My other finished object, let me move this. Oh, one last color, I forgot. This is lovely. This one is called Dark, and it's just like, it's showing kind of a ultramarine on the camera, but it is truly a navy blue. It's beautiful. Okay, my other finished object. If you've been in the shop at all, you have seen me work on this. It's my squared poncho. And so, ta-da! It's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but it looks so cute. I love it. So this is the coziest wrap, like on a rainy day like today, to just curl up on the couch. Almost like, it's like a big bathrobe. I love it. But this took 2 skeins of graphite from Hedgehog to create these borders. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. By the way, this is the Boneyard shawl. This is also a free pattern on Ravelry. Not Boneyard shawl. Age of Brass and Steam. Boneyard's similar, but it doesn't have the eyelets. Age of Brass and Steam, free pattern on Ravelry for DK weight. It just uses 1 skein, and it's symmetrical. Back to this one. This is also a free pattern available on the Hedgehog website or on Ravelry, called Squared from Beata Jazik. And this uses 2 skeins of your your window pane colors. So I use 2 skeins of graphite. You hold them together, and then the rest of these squares are made with 2 different strands of, I used Hedgehog sock in each square. So basically, these big squares take about a half a skein, so 50 grams, roughly 200 yards. If you're going to go stash diving and make each square different from your stash, you can definitely do that. On the pattern, it tells you exactly how many full-size skeins and how many mini skeins, because like these squares down here at the bottom, these just take a mini skein. Okay, that was the weirdest thing ever. My camera just quit working. Anyway, hopefully this works and we can splice it together. Like I was saying, this takes 2 mini skeins held together, 2 halves of mini skeins. Anyway, the instructions are all on the pattern. It's a free pattern, very easy, great to use as your stash buster. Mix a few new skeins with some old scrap skeins, or do all new. It really doesn't matter. But the main thing is your contrast, your borders, which is your I-cord edging, and these kind of window panes. That needs to be 2 skeins of the same color, preferably a dark color. Or if you're doing all dark colors for your scraps, then do like a cream or a white or a light gray. That'd be very nice too. So anyway, this will be in the shop. You can come take a look. It's huge, it's massive, it's warm and cozy. Great, great, great piece. So those are my 2 finished objects. My works in progress. So I cast this on. You may have known from the last episode that I was hemming and hawing on what to do with the Forbidden Fiber Company linen, the Proverbs base. I was going back and forth between doing a European road trip shawl from Espace Tricot or possibly the Hitafeud cardigan. I liked the laciness of the Hitafeud. A customer mentioned it to me, and I really hadn't thought about it, but I liked the laciness of it. But I really don't wear a lot of cardigans, so I decided against it. But it helped me decide to do the Saint Laurent wrap, which is a free pattern from Espace Tricot. And so it's hard to tell, but you make 2 panels. This is just one, and it's not even finished. So you end up with a kite or a diamond shape like this. So this is just half, and then there'll be another half like that. Or you could just do the half, honestly. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. I have 2 skeins of it wound. I'm not through the first skein, but you can see the beautiful stitch definition. Now, I did this morning steam this because it just looked nasty. And so I steamed it. It got some more stretch out of it, and it just looks beautiful now. But this will be just a nice wrap, light and airy cotton. yeah, I'm excited to see how it continues to grow. But that's the St. Laurent wrap. I started that on last week on the vacation. No, it wasn't really vacation. It was a work trip for my husband, but slightly vacation. And then I also worked on, of course, I worked on and finished this. I cast this on the trip. Bear with me, my project bag is overflowing. I also worked on my Hayward. My poor Hayward got worked on and ripped out and frogged 4 times. Or no, 3 times. This is the 4th installment. And it's not going to be ripped out, knock on wood. But I cast it on using Malabrigo Paris Night Machita. And first I cast it on, didn't really like the look, so I put it away. When I was at the Blazing Needles, they carry Shibui Silk Cloud, and I thought, you know what, this is what it needs. It just needs a single strand of mohair. You put it in this bag so it doesn't go everywhere. It just needs to be stranded with mohair. And this is the result, and it looks so much better. It's hard to see, but there's like a little bit of a fuzzy halo to it, which Machita has, because it's a single ply, can kind of have that look anyway. But it looked, even though it was on gauge, it looked too holy or just odd. So this looks so much nicer. Anyway, it also brightens up. The colorway that I have for the Silk Cloud is called Suit. And it's a beautiful navy color, but it just brightens the Paris Night just the tiniest bit, which I really like. So I've ended up, I ripped it out. Then I started carrying Silk Cloud. Had to rip it out because it was twisted. No, had to rip it out because I had too many stitches. Then I cast on again. It was twisted. Ripped that out, and now I've got this much done on it. This is again the Hayward by Julie Hoover, and it is normally supposed to be knit in pieces and seamed, but I am knitting it in the round just because I really don't want to purl a lot. So that's that update. And then I also have a test knit that I'm working on. I'm not going to really show you the whole piece. I'm just going to show you a little section so you can see the colors. But it's a brioche pattern. This is just kind of the boring plain section, so I'm not giving too much away. But those colors there, so this, which it shows up kind of green, it's really more mustard, and then this beautiful gray, medium toned gray, is our new Red Stag fiber, which will be launching next week, the 27th, with a trunk show here on the 30th. And that is my husband's line of hand-dyed yarns. So come and check it out. I won't have that sample done by then, but you'll be able to see how it works up. He's got a nice variety of different bases and a lot of tonal and solid colored yarns. So, and colorways. Colorways is the word I was searching for. So it'll be exciting. Yeah. Okay, so that's all that I have on my needles. Y'all have seen many times what I'm going to cast on, and it's probably going to change anyway, so we'll get to that later. My other project that I started working on with my mom, actually, yesterday. This is something I've been thinking about for a while, but I love project bags, and they're kind of hard to get in the shop. I didn't think they would be so hard to get in the shop, but they are. And because a lot of the makers that make really nice bags either are not taking on new shops, because they're busy with providing their product to the shops they currently do, or have decided they only want to sell through their own website or Etsy, or just don't wholesale, period. So I can sew. I'm not an expert sewer, but I can sew decently. My mother, however, is at one point, she was a professional seamstress and had her own sewing business. She's an avid quilter. Just, she can do amazing things with a sewing machine. And so she doesn't do anything like that as her job, but she just loves to do it. It's her fun hobby. So I was talking with her and showing her some of the bags that I couldn't get in the shop. And she was like, well, we could make something like that, you and I, just tell me what you want. And I was like, well, there's not a bag that has exactly everything that I want. She's like, well, tell me what you want and I'll tell you how to make it. So we did. So this is just kind of the prototype, I won't say prototype because we are making these basically this way, but still a few tweaks to it, and we're going to get labels and make them really cute. But this is our bag. So it's fully lined. So many of these canvas bags are not lined. This is completely and thoroughly lined with a nice muslin lining. And then we have a dark, it's hard to tell on here, a dark denim for the base. So if you set it down, it gets nasty or whatever, you don't see it. And then you have the white, it's not really white, it's the natural denim on top. So it's thick, and plus with the lining, it's sturdy. So if you want to put lots of pins on here, it's going to hold up. We also have a canvas strap, so you can hold it like a little wristlet, or just use it as a handle. And instead of a zipper, we have a drawstring. So keep it nice and snug. You can even pass this through. And you have your little bag. So it holds 6 skeins, just putting skeins in there. So it's nice and big. So it'll easily hold a sweater project, a couple socks and notions. It's just a really good overall bag. We're going to do these 2 tones. We're going to do some solid like coated canvas bags as well, and then maybe some fun prints, but there would be more kind of limited edition, just a couple bags each. So if you're interested in these, I'd love to hear from you. Put a comment below. We're hoping to launch these in July sometime, and if we can get enough bags ready, launch them in July. And probably the pricing is going to be depending on, of course, the time put into them and the fabrics and everything, but my rough guess right now is anywhere between $45 and probably $55. So stay tuned. Of course, they'll launch here in the store, but then I will also put them on our website for those interested that can't come to the shop. So yeah, that's a fun project that my mom and I are getting to do. And I'll say yesterday it was really fun getting to just sew with her, because she has a really nice sewing room. Like, yeah, it's really nice. So the other things I have, well, let me just show you this. Of course, we know, or you might have known, that U2 Yarns was here for a trunk show 2 weeks ago. And so I snagged a couple things kind of for myself, but if you want them, grab them. You do have to call the store because they're not online. But I'm interested in casting on the Tecumseh Tecumseh sweater. And this combination is like amazing. So this is Dos Tierras from Malabrigo in the natural colorway. And then these 2 colors, kind of a smoky charcoal blue and then a mustard, would basically give you almost the same look as the picture of her finished Tecumseh in the pattern. Or you could swap out, if you didn't like the mustard yellow, you could do really nice navy and gray combo, or you could do gold and navy. You could do a lot of different options. But anyway, I'm going to have these out because I'm not going to cast on right away. Besides, if I want to, I can just call her and get more. So anyway, if you're wanting a Tecumseh, come grab these, because this would be perfect Tecumseh. If you cast on now, you'll have it for this fall. Okay, so now for things that have come into the shop. We do have a new tote bag. This one super cute with a little lamb wearing a sweater, but this one is zippered. So if you like a zippered tote bag, this is for you. I only have like a couple of them. So grab these. I forgot what the price is on those. Come in and find out. Some of the other things that have come into the shop, we have some new notions. We are now carrying some Coco Knit items. So we have curved cable needles. We have the hand-forged yarn snips. They come with a nice little leather cover. Great for snipping your yarn. We also have the stitch fixers. So it's like a little crochet hook, double-ended. Fix some slip stitches, things like that. I know several of you guys were asking for the row counters. We now have the row counters available. And one of my favorite things is we have the Maker's Keeps, which are these fun slap bracelet things, so one size fits all. And then you have a magnet, and then you can take, obviously not in the paper packaging, but any of your metal tools, and they're with you. Any of your stitch markers that are metal, you can just pop on there and you have them. Pins if you're sewing. Guys even like these. They can put little screws and stuff, you know, and it's gray, so it's not too girly. So that's a fun gift option as well. And let's see what else. Oh, we also have some Busy Happy Hands hand balm. So this is all natural. Really smells delicious. Smells like a spa. Shea butter, beeswax, lavender, hand balm, which is great. I notice since working with that linen, after I work with it, I've got to put some moisturizer. It just sucks my hands dry, I guess. What else do we have? Oh, we also have stitch stoppers. Forgot to mention that. And we got in some new pins. We restocked the knitting pins. And we got in these fun little, it's knitting needles with a little ball of yarn, almost like they're grabbing some sushi. Super cute. And then we have some new books as well. We have the Stashbot guide. So this is a great, you can put your notes on it. Tells you quantities you need for different sizes, for sweaters, socks, garments, blankets, hats. Basically anything that you would knit, either garment or household item wise, in varying sizes or ages. Kind of just rough estimates so that you know when you're out buying yarn. You know you want a sweater, but you don't know the pattern that you're wanting, but you know you want a cardigan. Well, it will tell you based on your measurements the quantity roughly of yarn that you should buy. So this helps you from way overbuying or way underbuying yarn. So I think it's a great thing to grab. They're pretty cheap, good to keep on hand, especially when you go to yarn festivals, yarn crawls, things like that, when you know you want to buy some things but you don't necessarily have a pattern in mind. Like Houston Fiber Fest is coming up, so this would be great to underline, highlight, circle your sizes, and then go from there. We also have this book, Knit, First Stitch, First Scarf, and this is a great book for beginners. If you've attended our beginner knitting class, if you just want to self-teach yourself or family member how to knit, this is a great book on doing so. And then this is Hannah Fettig's new book, Texture. And this is a nicely thick book exploring different textures in different garments, home accessories, things like that. So textures in knitting, not just flat knitting. So three-dimensional, just really creating really unique textures with your yarn. It's a really great book. I only have 1 or 2 copies of that one though, so come and grab it quick. But then, probably my favorite thing that came in, we now carry Lina Magazine. Yay! So Lina, you might have seen some people call this Lane magazine. The correct Norwegian pronunciation is Lina. If this was a French magazine, it would be called Lane, but it's not. It's a Norwegian publication, so it is called Lina. This contains, if you're not familiar with the Lina magazine, tons of patterns. I mean, gosh, I think probably 20 patterns in each copy, plus recipes, articles about yarn shops, designers, different companies that are out there, city tour guides, just amazing. Like this summer issue, because we have the summer and we have last winter's. This contains articles on, I think Suzanne Sommer had an article in here, or an interview. Maybe it's the other one. We have a whole thing on Edinburgh, Scotland, all sorts of recipes. Vera Välimäki has a new shawl pattern. There's Twisted Finch has a whole article. Rosa Pomar, the designer. Oh, Isolde Teague is in this one. So this is the winter one. This is the one that Suzanne Sommer and Jared Flood are in, along with La Bien Amie, the yarn shop in Paris that is actually run by a Kansas girl. So it's a really neat book. So we just have a few limited copies. It's a high quality book. It's really, I call it a book because it's not a magazine. It's nice and thick. It's like a coffee table book. So come grab your copy. They're hard to get, but we have them here. And we will be carrying the new episodes, the new issues as they come out. Then we also have the My Knitting Notes. This is also from Lina magazine. And this is your knitting journal. So it's hard to tell because it's getting all blown out here, but it has places where you put in your measurements, the patterns that you like. It's basically just a knitting journal. It's, I think, a fun way to keep track of your knitting progress outside of technology and the internet and Ravelry, but in a more thoughtful way because it's all handwritten. So I think it's really neat. We have a few copies, but this makes a great gift too because it is like, it's like an old bound book, like with the linen binding, and it's just like this feels expensive. This feels like it belongs in a library, like an old English, Irish, Scottish library. So that's that. As far as events going on in the store, we have next week on June 30th, we have the Red Stag Fiber Trunk Show. We have the 6th and the 7th, the Birthday Bash. We will be closed on July 4th for Independence Day. We have July 12th, our late night knitting is back up and running. So that's where we're open till 8 p.m. We will be exhibiting on the 13th and 14th of July in Huntsville at the East Texas Fabric Crawl Thimble Trail. It's a quilt festival, quilt fabric sewing festival, and we will be exhibiting there. So come check us out there. We will have the shop closed because we'll be transporting as much of the shop as we can fit in the Jeep up to the show. Let's see, then we will have on the 21st of July the Chicken Coop Dye Works Trunk Show. We have a class on June 30th for intermediate crochet. We have a class on July 20th for beginner knitting. All the details are going to go up on the website. They're going to go on Instagram today, but they should go up on the website later today as well. If you're interested in signing up, just shoot us an email or give us a call. And then also on July 28th, we have the brioche class. I believe there's only 2 spots left for that. Again, it is an early morning class that's at 9 a.m. But I think that's about it. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Thanks for putting up with the weird technical difficulty and the camera cutting out. Hopefully the audio has recorded very well. And yes, I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.